Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with the Vampire Coast, in case you couldn't tell by a good old Queen Bess here. I'm going to be taking them with Silostra Direfin up against the Empire. Decided, since I pulled this map on Quick Battle, it has some interrupted line of sight, so I figured, hey, let's take Queen Bess since she's gotten a high arc of fire. You can see she actually elevates before she fires, and she fires in a very high angle. We're going to go ahead and try and take advantage of that. We've got the Black Spot defending here, one of my other favorite regiments of renown. I think these guys are actually going to be very good for defending the cannon because they have the charge defense, decent melee stats, armor piercing, anti-large, so they can defend against cavalry. They also have a ranged attack, of course, excellent armor piercing range damage, so they can fend them off in that way as well. We've got Silostra Direfin, we've got Lamprey's Revenge, whole mess of zombies in the front line, including the Tide of Skjold, the rowdy zombies that have perfect vigor as long as their leadership's good. A couple of Fellbats, a couple of Hounds over on the far side, and we've got some Sirens hidden in the woods, as well as a Vampire Fleet Captain. She's got Invocation and the Summon. Silostra is rocking her Summon and Vanguard's Revenge. For our opponent, we've got a couple Pistoliers in the back. Excellent choice. Mortar, which is just about to take a shot here. Oh, brutal stuff. We've also got a Great Cannon here, some Empire Knights, whole front line of Swordsmen, a couple Halberdiers looks like, Handgunners, Witch Hunter, Balthazar, nope, General of the Empire, and a Jade Wizard. Interesting. So yeah, we're going to get the artillery duel underway, so to speak here. You can see the Great Cannon. I'm not sure if this thing has a line of sight on Queen Bess. I guess we're going to find out in just a minute here, but the mortar, meanwhile, takes a direct hit there, and that's pretty much going to finish off the crew just about there. So yeah, they shatter, and we're going to go ahead and switch targets in just a minute. It looks like Queen Bess did take a shot, though, from that Great Cannon, so potentially in range. Meanwhile, the Bats and the Hounds have been sent to deal with the Pistoliers that were vanguarded in the corner. Did manage to spot them in time, so we're able to get one unit, chase them off. The other unit, though, manages to escape our grasp somewhat here, although we've still got plenty of control tools in the area, so I'm not too worried about them getting at Queen Bess directly. Even if they do, we've got the Black Spot here defending, so it should be just fine. Queen Bess unleashing another shot there on that unlucky Great Cannon. We went ahead and pulled the Sirens back just to kind of a defensive position here to try and intercept these Empire Knights potentially, maybe the Pistoliers or so on. Silostra coming over herself. Ooh, a brutal shot there through the crew. Unfortunately, not hitting Queen Bess directly. And the Great Cannon here. Oh, here it comes. Oh, man, another very spot-on hit, taking out about half the crew there in one shot. So, yeah, brutal stuff. Queen Bess, if you can't take her down quickly enough, is very good in a counter-artillery roll. You can see we summoned up the Damned Knights Errant. They're going to be holding off some of these Empire Knights. The Sirens also, I'm using their higher speed and their melee attack debuff, as well as their armor piercing to chase these Empire Knights back. Silver Bullets are unloading some magic damage into them, which is definitely uncomfortable, doing some pretty solid damage there. Very nice use of the Silver Bullets. We've summoned up some Crabs, though, and the Hound Bat Squad's online to go shut them down real quick. Meanwhile, the Damned Knights Errant getting a little bit tied up in the front line of the Halberdiers here, which is fine. Meanwhile, Queen Bess is going to start unloading on the front line units since the Great Cannon's pretty much offline, and ooh, point blank here just wrecks this unit of handgunners completely. Meanwhile, the Jade Wizard unfortunately got involved in melee here, and the Fleet Captain supporting the Tide of Skjold. These guys are actually probably going to win this fight here against Empire Swordsmen. Over here, zombies holding out quite nicely. Empire Knights had taken some damage. I'm not sure exactly from what, but maybe they just got bogged down in the deckhands there. But since there's not a whole lot of mobile threats left to threaten Queen Bess, I'm going to go ahead and pull the Black Spot up to kind of a hill position here where they can overlook a lot of the battlefield and get some good overwatch fire. Meanwhile, Queen Bess continuing to unload up on the hill. We're going to send Silostra over to unleash some spell shenanigans on our opponent here. Black Spot you can see opening up into those swordsmen there, doing some excellent work. And yeah, here comes the Vanguard's Revenge right down the line of swordsmen here, or halberdiers rather. Oh man, such a flashy spell. It's absolutely brutal. Going to wreck through a lot of those units there. Doesn't quite finish them off. This unit of swordsmen didn't take as much damage, but yeah, those spearmen pretty much done for. The Halberdiers here doing a good job against the fleet captain, but the Tide of Skjold able to hold out there. Go ahead and hornswaggle those swordsmen so that maybe the Tide of Skjold can finish them off. And Queen Bess is wrecking the top area here. Those Empire Knights and the Halberdiers taking another shot there. Queen Bess just about out of ammo, so you know if you can use all of Queen Bess's ammo in a multiplayer battle that you've probably got some good value from it, at least hopefully. That probably did more friendly fire than anything on that last shot, but hey, they're just zombies. We can make these Halberdiers into zombies too, I guess, probably. So, bats and hounds, sirens, just chasing units all across the field, trying to use that mobility as much as I can to make sure they don't come back from routing. At this point, the General of the Empire is a bit surrounded by the Lamprey's Revenge, as well as some summoned crabs, so he's in a bad situation, to say the least. Silostro moving to the front line to try and finish off some of these Halberdiers here, giving us a taste of her beautiful voice. It's beautiful, Silostro, I swear. And those Empire troops are going to go ahead and flee the scene. So, very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. A bit of a quicker battle today, but yeah, in terms of the build, Queen Bess there racking up 107 kills, finishing off 2 artillery pieces, you know, doing a ton of damage to Empire infantry as well. Like I said, on maps with obstructed line of sight, Queen Bess can be actually a pretty decent option if your opponent's not prepared for it. I had kind of underestimated the amount of damage that this thing would actually do and how accurate it would be in terms of multiplayer. It's still going to be a bit of a niche unit, I think. You're really going to have to make it work on the appropriate map or in the appropriate matchup. But I do think that potentially you can make it work in multiplayer. Certainly it was able to work in this particular battle. From my opponent's build perspective, I probably would have switched out these Halberdiers just for more spearmen and then maybe chevron them up a bit. Maybe taken some crossbowmen rather than the Stirland's Revenge and the handgunners. Oh, I totally thought that was the Silver Bullets. Explains why they didn't do quite so much damage to the Sirens, but the Silver Bullets probably would be a good idea here because of that magic damage. The Witch Hunter, unfortunately, just not able to get his accusation, it looks like, on Silostra. I understand that's probably why he brought him. Definitely a good choice for taking down Silostra. You know, that accusation would do a ton of damage to her. Unfortunately, just not able to get to the right situation because she's relatively mobile compared to the Witch Hunter. She can kind of stay out in front, stay, you know, in between the lines, as it were. But, yeah. In terms of the rest of the build here, Hounds and Bats doing quite well, just kind of cleaning up around the flanks. The Black Spot really weren't challenged too much. They took a couple shots from the cannon there, but they definitely, I mean, they did their job more or less of defending Queen Bess, you know, in melee, and then they were able to get a couple of shots and didn't really do anything too crazy. But I definitely want to experiment more with them as kind of a cannon defender type unit because they have the ranged attack and they have, you know, charge defense, decent melee stats, anti-large, all that jazz. You can potentially use them to defend your artillery pieces, so I want to mess around with that a little bit more. But in terms of the Silostra kind of control style of build, definitely works pretty well, I think. We didn't really have to use the zombie summons too much because our front line of zombies here held alright. But yeah, in terms of the Empire, like I said, I would probably cut down one of the Empire Knights and one of the Pistoliers, and then maybe just go a little bit different on the infantry. Karl Franz, he doesn't have a missile block chance, but he does do a bit more damage in melee. You know, you can kind of throw him in against like the crabs and so on, and he will get some pretty good work done in that aspect. You could go a bit heavier on the cannons, although on that particular map, you know, you do have obstructed line of sight, so it could potentially be pretty rough, but yeah, I think going a little bit lighter on cav and maybe with a bit more infantry, it would have been a bit better, although I did still have plenty in the tank at the end to be able to hold off some kind of lowish tier Empire infantry, so I'm not really sure in that aspect. It's a matchup that's pretty dynamic, I would say, and I mean, the Empire certainly has some tools, but I think the Coast has some counterplay, certainly. But yeah, just if I were to quickly kind of theorycraft a build around what my opponent had, having the General is nice and cheap. Doesn't really offer a whole lot outside of that, but if you really wanted to make him as cheap as possible, you could strip him down completely. The Witch Hunter is definitely a good idea. He's got magic attacks and melee, he can shoot magic attacks, and of course he's got accusation as well, so you want to try and stick him on Silostra. Because we're going with a bit of a wider build, the Jade Wizard isn't necessarily as efficient. Lore of Heavens or Lore of Fire, I would say, are probably going to be your two best go-tos, because they have good area of effect damage spells and good buffs and debuffs. Fire in particular, you can throw fireballs at Silostra, and you can do, burning heads on zombies. You can even do a flame storm, because the Vampire Coast is so slow. If they have a whole big mess of zombies, you can summon up that flame storm, and they're going to have a hard time getting out of the way. You can potentially rack up a ton of kills if they're in a really tight formation, so it might be worth bringing that. Although, in a more competitive sense, I would probably take these 2 cheaper spells and then the Burning Head. Let's see here. Probably want the Power Stone as well. And then for the front line, we're going to grab Spearmen with shields this time, just to give us that extra missile block chance. Swordsmen, of course, also have shields. And then, typically I like to bring a lot of Great Cannons, but because that map has interrupted line of sight, it's tough to know. Maybe instead of actually bringing any artillery, we go with more cavalry. You could always go even wider on infantry. Some crossbowmen would probably be a good idea, although you will probably want to spread them out if you're up against Queen Bess. Yeah, then we could maybe grab a couple of Empire Knights here. Still have quite a bit of funds left, so maybe we take some Flagellants just to be unbreakable, and then with whatever is left, we're going to go ahead and just juice up this front line quite a bit. Bring them all up to kind of mid-tier status. You can see Empire Swordsmen at 533 points actually have really excellent stats. We can even go ahead and maybe buy a couple items for this guy. Maybe it wouldn't be bad to have the Charmed Shield to give him a bit more stuff there. We'll grab Hold the Line as well and Stand Your Ground, just for the area of effect buffs. And yeah, from here, let's see what else. Skull of Catan might not be a bad idea to spam on the Vampire Casters. Reduce their power recharge rate, certainly could be quite useful. And then maybe we just dole out a few chevrons among these crossbowmen or something. So maybe something like this. I'm not really sure. Again, just kind of theory crafting around that specific map because it has that interrupted line of sight. Maybe you just go with more of a headstrong infantry rush. With the juiced up stats, these guys should be able to cut through zombies a bit quicker overall. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.